would like to ask you whether, when you look back at all you've achieved, what you've put in place, do you have any feeling that you could have done something better than how you did it at the time?
Yes, of course. Always. Every moment is new. So, you've come along the road just like in an old wagon, and you've made the wagon wheels have made their tracks. All of a sudden then you discover the steel belted radio. So yeah, there's always a better idea, but you've made all these tracks with the wagon wheel. It's like, oh, geez, everybody's going to think that, the best way to travel is the wagon wheel. But now I've discovered the steel belted radio. Yeah, so again, things have been laid out there. And sometimes I kind of cringe when I hear that somebody found this or that. I remember the first book I wrote. I called it The Return of the Real, and this is Journey to Real Freedom. Well, years later, when I read that book, because I had it published by Publish American, I bought some copies. I looked through it, and it's like I threw it away. I mean, I really redid the book so many times, etc. So, and even what's out there now, it's great for most people, but for me, I've moved on. And it's a reference to them. And it's very workable because it can connect them. It refers to Revizar and the Real Guides and the etc. All of them do. But I would word it a little different today. And actually, even though I make the groups a little intense and seemingly complicated with how I write, etc., it's really not that. Really, everything that I see is simply the sun shining, like the sun shining. That's a reference here with the is. We as humans need something as a reference, but really, the end result of everything that I'm putting out there is a simplification to we don't need any of this stuff. Don't need the computers and the money and all this stuff. That it's a real position. This is the real universal position that I've decided, but it must be seen. It's something that you see with your real awareness, and it takes care of everything through all of creation also, and it's very real. And so again, but in the meantime, I am dealing with all the abstracts, all the funny things that are created. So yes, I don't have remorse, but there's a lot of things out there that I would do differently, but they're out there and they're going to relate to people accordingly. And each person decides to react or however they see it. It's all fine. Eventually, through this huge process, if it's not now, it's later or whatever, eventually, I would say that everybody has the opportunity to recognize the is, but then again, it's a choice. The reptilians have been around the longest time, very arrogant, and they decide, we're right here. They know about me. All the governments of the world know about me. But they're deciding that their arrogance comes first. Again, I can't, that's their intent, is to be arrogant. That's where their intent is. I'm not here to change that. Again, it's not about change. I'm not here to change. I don't have a mission. It's not that. I'm just simply sharing every moment, what I see and something to do here, and referring to, the real guides, etc. I look to them too because they oversee everything that I'm doing. They see the bigger picture. So if I make a decision about this or that, like putting away the queen, they see this, and if it's workable and makes sense, they go for it because they like the adventure too. Because whatever it is that assists me and others like me here to present something to this world, because again, look at most of the people in the world. They're all afraid. They're all going with the system every day, which is fine. And at the same time, they're all being manipulated and destroyed. And so what makes sense? Yeah, so funny place we're on, Charles. Funny place. And it's getting more real every day with the destruction they're doing. It's coming closer and closer and closer. And it's just very, very real. And so what we're experiencing now, how long will it last? And so what have you got left? Your real awareness and how you relate to that and how you can see that. Still, you got to deal with the body. You know, you got your brand new car, but then all of a sudden, you know, you go off the road and you're wedged somewhere down a hill. And okay, now the idea of the new car, you're wedged between two trees and you're out there in the wilderness somewhere. And hey, no one's coming to rescue you, you might say. What do you do? Yeah, what do you do that moment? You get up and walk away because all of a sudden that new car means nothing. So again, we have this world here, this created world that looks good, but it's becoming nothing very fast because it really is already nothing. It's just way overdone. And it's choices. People make choices every day and they're making the same choices. They're trying to cling to the old created stuff where they could become more aware, but they, you know, we keep putting it out there, but they keep choosing not to become more aware. So, yes, here we are, Charles, and here you are.
Yeah, Duane, so sad. At this physical life level, we find that there must be restrictions there are bound to be restrictions in everything. And these restrictions, they affect our inner bodies and our real awareness. Do you think that some new friends, those who are still there and those who have left, consider that the wonderful worldwide educators may have some restrictions or limitations that are unwritten and that may negate their efforts in this lifetime to break out of the creation matrix? Do you think there could be this kind of this lingering suspicion that there are some restrictions, especially on the part of those who have left, who have come and gone? So I'm trying to look at, I'm trying to x-ray their minds, and I'm at a loss. But I think you could say something about this.
Well, again, you're trying to fit things into a perfect world according to, you know, your literalized mind. You see, and this is what is marketed to people is that, oh, we're creating a perfect world to where you don't have to do anything and you're all taken care of. Hey, we're in cause and effect creation. It's all restriction. Okay? And the first thing to do is recognize that it is not about, you know, the ideas of freedom, because there is no freedom in restriction. It is to recognize what is taking place here in cause and effect. It is all restriction. I'm not implying the no restrictions that I'm applying to refer to the real universes, not to creation, not to the new presentation, not to the worldwide educators. No, it's all restriction. We all have to do stuff. We all have to get up, brush our teeth. Maintenance is restriction, okay? And the real universe is you don't have maintenance. But people don't see that as restriction. They see that as, oh, I made a choice. You know, I bought a car and, oh yeah, I have to pay for it, but I got a good job, so I've got money to do that. See, they don't see that as restriction. They see that as opportunity, you see. But it's really restriction. Everything you do here is restriction. I'm not here to correct. No one is here, the boys, whatever. No one is here to correct cause and effect. Cause and effect is what it is. This, again, is these are mind ideas, like the God idea and the Savior idea and all these things. These are mind ideas. People thinking that, oh, I'll become, a Christian, or I'll believe in God, and everything will be taken care of. Just like the people that have come to the new presentation thinking that, oh, it's going to take care of the idea we created as the new presentation. It's going to take care of my personal life, and I'm going to get a better job and make more money. No, you have to recognize creation for what it is. And I'm not here to redo creation. This is where, again, people like to live on the fables. Fantasy is one thing, but fables and stories like Jesus doing miracles, coming here, going to fix the earth because everybody else decided to screw it up and destroy it. And now all of a sudden, well, we'll just pray to Jesus, and everything that we've done to the earth, well, he'll fix it. You see, fables, these are stories, etc. And people want a good story. So the idea in America is land of the free, home of the brave, land of the free. Okay, that sounds really good. Okay, but it's a fable. It's a story. And so again, this is where I keep pointing to the projects and do something while you're in cause and effect, restricted creation. And I'm not here to redo creation. Creation is necessary for what it is because it's an abrasiveness that helps you wake up. When you bump your elbow or stub your toe or trip over yourself and fall and whatever, all of a sudden you realize, hey, I'm hurt, I'm in pain. It's a wake up, okay? But there's many ways to wake up. You don't have to go through the pain. And so what I've done is I've created the new presentation as painless, all right? But then again, the pain is that you still have to deal with cause and effect creation. It's not going to cure that. So restrictions, yes, everything here is restrictions. And what I'm implying with the words and whatever, they're restrictions too, simply because they are what they are. They're in cause and effect creation. But with the words, I'm referring to what has no restrictions, and that is your real awareness. And so as the individual, yeah, you can try, your real awareness is invisible and your bodies aren't. Well, you can see yourself walking through a wall. Well, the body can't go through that wall, is it? It's restricted. There's a difference, isn't there? So, yeah, this is part of the wake up, Charles. See, many people are thinking that, oh, if I do this or if I have a lot of money, I'll be free. I'll have the freedom. You will have the freedom, which you've always had, to do whatever you want. The money doesn't do that. But yeah, you can now buy things or have things that you didn't before, but it has nothing to do with your freedom of choice. This is where people get mixed up. See things for what they are. And see things for what they aren't, you see? So again, everything here is restrictions. There's no getting away from restrictions. I don't imply that. I simply refer to the real universe as there is no restriction there, which is here now. That's UP, universal position. And to recognize that, it's all about recognition, isn't it? It's more so than an idea where Harry's the master and he points everybody to God to get tap lined. So there is a difference. But again, each person has to see it. So yes, we're buried in restrictions here, Charles. But once you recognize the restrictions with your real awareness, you can sidestep them. See, that's the best part.
You mean you can sidestep the reptilians?
Yes, you can sidestep everything. So the thing is, that's just a term, because again, as you become more aware, the bodies are affected, Charles, until you can figure that out. But your real awareness is not, because now you're aware of them, so you're not giving in and agreeing to their fear and control. That's where you sidestep them. You're no longer under their control. But yeah, you do have a body here. I still have a body with identification. It has a driver's license and a passport, et cetera, et cetera. But again, things are going to happen to this body, which they have, but that's not my real awareness. I'm inside the body, I'm with the body, but it's not my real awareness. So things are still going to happen in the body worlds accordingly to the choices you make and the effects, etc. I got to breathe the air here still, Charles. I'm still affected by the microwaves and everything. I'm on my computer here. I'm still affected by them in the body sense, but my real awareness is not affected by it because I recognize what's taking place. So I no longer am at the mercy of the ideas that I create about what is taking place. There's a difference.
Okay, Duane. I would like us to revisit this issue of uh, of our African new friends in the Congo who have stopped their activities, and one of the reasons is that it is only there in the Congo that we have group activities where people come together to do to sing the new song and do other things. And I don't know whether this is right or wrong, because well, this is supposed to be an individual teaching, and people are supposed to be on their personal journeys. But what do you think is the future of group activities of that sort?
Well, with Kelsey and Henry and Val and even my friend Ollie and myself here, we're simply demonstrating how to survive better without, taking all the time with the system, but more so providing something real and beneficial to the world. So again, I'll use that as an idea with what we're doing here every day together. And what people in the Congo, we've discussed this. Charles and I had a nice long talk a few days ago about this and what's going on with Miriam. And again, just here, there's always a new challenge coming. There's always one here. You, Val, and Kelsey can profess to this because especially with what's going on in the college, and now we have a new challenge we've taken on. And since Val has come here and Kelsey have come here and we've started all this, we started the OCC thing. I'll give these as an example. And now the Grand Canyon University in Arizona. It's been a heck of a challenge, but and Val can attest to this, especially because I've really, you might say, I've put him out there to have this experience. And so, again, we're promoting the is in our own particular way. It's kind of hidden for a while, but we have to start somewhere. It's just like building a house. The house just isn't built because you want it. It's a brick at a time, a brick here, a brick there, a brick there. And it doesn't look like much of a house at first. And so it doesn't look like what we're doing is going to become what we're deciding, but eventually it can with agreement. So we're on this adventure to continually promote this, because again, as we promote this, as each individual promotes it, as I promote Rebazar and the reality of this business, it everything equals itself. It backs me. It protects me. It shares with me the real awareness that it is. And so, yeah, it's not about right or wrong or what we're doing or whatever. The idea is that we're trying to promote it, but doesn't mean we're going to get agreement. That's the biggie. So, yeah, something along those lines, Charles. And what's going on in Africa? Again, it's choice. And I would say that over the years that I've taught classes in the past with the corporation, and now we have the new groups, etc., that has all been very important for me because it's huge. And I don't take it for granted. This is where many people do. They do it for a couple months, 6 months, a year, couple years, and then that's it. You know, I would see even this lifetime. I see even beyond this lifetime. I'm not concerned about even more lifetimes or whatever. All that matters to me personally is the greater recognition of the all is, to where I have no restrictions in creation or anywhere. That's what I look to. So however long that takes, I don't have any ideas about that. It's just whatever it is. And it's just like, how do you know how fast a plant is going to grow when you put the seed in the ground? You got to wait and see, because it's really up to that plant. It's up to that seed. Each seed is going to grow differently. I got palm trees in my planter out here. One's gigantic. It's 30 feet high. Planted them at the same time. They were the same size 10 years ago. The other one's like 10 feet high. It didn't grow the same, you see? So, you know, what has taken place, we discussed this in Africa, those are choices. And from what you told me, things were determined with certain individuals, even without, some of it without even Marion's knowledge. So I suggested get in there, because these things are precious. You let them go, they're going to be scattered like seeds in the wind. You know, if you plant them, you know, according to how you've, made your farm out there and troughed the rows or whatever, or you just throw them into the wind and hopefully that they'll, come about somewhere. So it's a choice, isn't it? So we create things here to bring people together, to share their experiences and have a better understanding, or we don't. Or they go out on their own, and usually when they do, they just follow their own created ideas, and they get themselves into situations again that eventually they come crying back. And that's an experience too. But again, the world's not going to wait. The world's doing what it's doing, and the world controllers are doing what they're doing. They're not going to wait. It ain't going to be like in the 50s and 60s anymore. We're in 2018 and 2019. We're in Agenda 21, Agenda 30, whatever. The world is different now, and it's moving very fast to capsulize, to capture, to and even put people in cages, which they do. You know, little cages that are so small you can't even stretch out. This is what they want, because this is human farming. There's no la la land here. So when you're looking at your job and your life and whatever, that job is soon going to vanish, because it's already been decided it's not going to exist anymore. This is just how it is. And so unless we're trying to show people how to wake up so they don't have to keep agreeing to this system. But then again, the choices that's going on there in the Congo with Marion's group, they're choices. And you can intervene. That's why I had the talk with you, and I said to you, hey, I'll talk with these people. Let's get them on Skype. Let's have a talk here. I care. I really do. If I didn't, I wouldn't do it. Does Harry care? You see him 2 hours a year at a seminar. Does he care about anything that's going on out there? No, he don't care. You know, he's off in his own little space, and he lets Joni handle it, you know, the reptilian witch. And so, again, I'll take whatever, because these things are precious, I'll take whatever time it takes, not to convince people, but, okay, you want to make that choice? But I would do everything I could to keep that going, because once it's gone, it's going to be hell and high water to bring it back. Because just like what we're demonstrating here, and I know that Kelsey and Henry and Val see this, what we're doing, it wasn't the same before this took place. wasn't the same at all. We've escalated, you might say, so much by us being together and really focusing on something that relates to the all is. Look at most of the people in the world. Yeah, they can do whatever they want. They can. And it all looks good, doesn't it? You know, their success, their money, they're getting this or that, their new car, their new homes, whatever. But are they relating to the isness life is? Are they bringing that through? Do they see this? Do they recognize the real guidance? Well, if they don't, then they're restricted to their one-dimensional personal awareness. That's it. And they've created it. That's the house they've created for themselves, is their head. And that's fine. But I see that just like this group here, I see how precious it is, like a child. Like raising a child is what it is, every moment. But most people take it for granted. They just think, oh, well, I can listen to a tape or read Duane stuff. I've heard these things before. It's a rearrangement of words. But we're really what's behind it all. So when you can listen to the exact same words, if Harry took my exact same words, which they do take my words, whatever, and told it to the audience, okay, he told it verbatim. He read one of the groups as an example, or several of them, to the audience. Would the reality of what I'm presenting be there and be the same, or would it just be words? You see? So what we're doing, by the very fact of what we're doing, is we're providing a way for this all aliveness because of our intents, our hearts and sincerity to be so. We're not into control or manipulating or tap lining others. You see, so he can use the same words, but he'll use it, you know, Joni will use them, market things to tap line and control others. We're not into that. So, you know, what's taking place there, and that's, you know, that's part of your responsibility for coming in here, Charles, if you wish to take it on, or you want to just let it go. Your choice. You know, again, I had somebody that came into this lifetime to help fund the Vessel Project. All this stuff was planned before I even came into this lifetime. All of it was planned, just like housing plans. I just didn't dream it up. All this was planned. But this one individual, he said no. Now he's in the astral world, and he's screaming to get out of his consciousness. We're trying to show him a way, but he didn't do it. So again, but he made the choice. So you have a choice here every single moment what to do. And these people in the Congo, they do too. I see it as precious, but they make the choice. It's none of my business. But that's why you came in here too, Charles, you and Miriam. Why do you think you're the two principal people in Africa? You know, that's your part. And how it comes out, you deal with it. You see? And just like me, you know, I came into this life just like Paul, and I'm dealing with it. I deal with all of it. And so each individual, this is how you earn your way, or you don't. You step up and you take part, or you just don't let it flake off. You know, I will do everything I can, but the final choice is with these people. But I will voice my views as much as I can, as they will listen, but the final choice is up to them. I've seen so many people come and go. It's fine. And I don't want anything from anybody. That's not the idea. You know, this is why I have always had my own business, whatever. I always paid my own way. This is why I wanted to do the bigger picture and get the funding. I had the opportunity, but the individual that was to come here and do this said no. So I've got to go another way. And in the meantime, I struggle because he said no. So here we are. So Africa and all that, I'm here to assist. But really, that's why you came here, Charles. Not to have your job and do what you're doing and whatever your future is, you're thinking that it is. There is no future. It's all now. You came here to do this. 100% or not. That's your choice and Miriam's choice. So whatever happens to this group there, and if others decide it accordingly, I don't see it as a vote. In other words, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, whether other people agree or not. I'm still going to do it. I really thought I'd be doing this all by myself. Really, I did. I'm grateful that others have stepped up. And I take on this position. I take on whatever it takes to do it. And so it's great that people recognize something, that step up, recognize something that makes sense. That's all. I'm not here to tell people what to do. That's not it. They can go do whatever they want. I'll walk the streets. I don't care if that's what it's going to be. So you and Miriam came here to do this. It's your baby. Let's see what happens.